Well, look, I want to return now to Peter Dutton's nuclear plan, and joining me for more to unpack this is Liberal MP Andrew Wallace. Andrew, good to see you. I want to play you some audio. We played some earlier, but this is what else Chris Bowen had to say today about...
You're not going to play me what Chris Bowen's
look, we're going to... I have to. I've got to subject you to it, unfortunately. I've got to subject our viewers once again. Here we go. Chris Bowen, take it away.
Peter Dutton has delivered a Christmas con job. Peter Dutton wants you to believe that he can introduce the most expensive form of energy and somehow that will reduce power prices.
Andrew, a Christmas con job. And if I recall, Adam Bant also called it a con job. What's your reaction?
Well, Danica, the day we start listening to either Adam Bant or Chris Bowen on energy, I mean, when we were kids, when we were growing up, we used to always point to the scoreboard, and that's a pretty good reflection of the honesty of the situation. And what we've seen over the last 2.5 years, they promised us a reduction of $275 in power prices, and we've seen our costs go up by over $1,000. We've seen an unprecedented number of companies going and businesses going to the wall because of the energy prices in this country. What Chris Bowen has done, he has been the architect of this country's failed energy policy. Chris Bowen, everything he touches, he ruins, destroys and does other things, which I can't mention on television. But every portfolio this man has had, he has destroyed. And unfortunately, the Prime Minister has put him in charge of one of the most important portfolios. And what it has done is ruined our country. Albo went to the election promising $275. It's costing us now more than $1,000. Scoreboard, Prime Minister, scoreboard, because Australians are suffering under this government, and it's largely because of inflation and energy prices.
I totally agree. Even Chris Bowen, I played it earlier, was asked about that $275 today, and he had absolutely nothing to say about it. So go figure. And I guess, Andrew, the other thing is people want to know, how will this help my power bills? What would you say to Australians?
Well, what I would say to Australians is that this is going to provide a balanced energy mix. We estimate it will save Australians around $263 billion. Now, in a market economy, that will end up resulting in lower energy bills for punters and for businesses. It just makes sense. Every country in the OECD, bar one, either has nuclear energy in their mix or is working towards nuclear energy. Australia is the only country in the OECD that doesn't, but apparently Chris Bowen knows better than all those other countries.
And just on that point, why do you think Labor isn't willing to accept that? As you said, we've got multiple countries, the US, the UK. There's plenty of countries that have gone down the nuclear pathway providing cheaper electricity for their citizens. Why do you think Labor is not willing to even think about it or consider it in a country like ours, in a developed country?
Well, it absolutely makes no sense whatsoever. Over the past few years, they talked about safety issues, but then they agreed to the AUKUS submarines, the nuclear-powered submarines. So they're quite happy for our submariners, Australians, and to work in these nuclear-powered submarines. They're quite happy for them to be tied up to Western Australian docks, South Australian docks, and on the East Coast when they come and visit in our major capital cities. So there's no problem there. They've dropped that safety issue because we know that modern nuclear power is very, very safe. So they've dropped that, but they still have this underlying philosophical, it's just an ideological bent against nuclear. It makes absolutely no sense. And the fact that they've agreed to it with our nuclear-powered submarines, it just really makes no sense whatsoever.
No,
at the end of the day, Australians deserve affordable, dispatchable power that they can flick a switch on and know that they're going to get power. They know they're going to be able to put their air conditioners on. They know they're going to be able to put their heaters on. Under Chris Bowen's renewables-only policy, when it's very, very hot or it's very, very cold. All of the state premiers now are saying, please don't put your aircon on, please don't put your heaters on. Well, you know, in a 21st century, first world country, this Labor government has driven us back into the dark ages. And I tell you what, Danica, it's in no small part through the ideology of the Greens that are dragging the state, dragging Labor to the left, aided by the Teals. That's the reality of it. If you want another 3 years of this madness, well, I mean, I'm not going to say the rest of it, but please, I implore Australians, if you've had a gutful, if you can no longer put food on the table, if you can't pay your energy prices, show this lot to the door, kick them to the sideline. You'll get that opportunity in a month or two.
Yeah, look, that election can't come soon enough, and you know there's a problem when you've got Adam Bandt and Labor repeating each other's lines. It's very, very dangerous. Andrew Wallace, wonderful to have you on. Thank you very much for joining me on the show this evening. Appreciate it.
Authorised by Andrew Wallace, LNP, Boccarina, Queensland.